So if you guys had no idea, Javier Baez, his nickname is El Mago. What does that mean? That means that he's the magician. And if you didn't think that he earned that nickname, well, yesterday, he did exactly that.
Baez hits it on the ground to third. Gonzalez.
This is so good.
Oh my goodness. What stole a run? You have got to be kidding me. Javi Baez.
So if you're a fan of the Pittsburgh Pirates, I know that you're holding strong and you're keeping faith in your team, but if you want to root for another squad for the remainder of 2021 because you officially have a Little League roster, I don't think the baseball community will hold that against you. We really wouldn't. I want to showcase the brand new jerseys for the Chicago White Sox. Are we sure that Tony La Russa is not going to explode because of the amount of swag that are in these jerseys? Like, seriously, we know he's old school and he doesn't like players swinging on 3-0 counts. I think he might spontaneously combust if he puts on this jersey. We have a lot to talk about, so we're not going to waste any more time. The Nationals, their suspended game, it picked up yesterday and they had a 3-0 lead before the rain delay completely canceled it, and the Nationals, they kind of picked up where they left off. Trey Turner drove in an RBI, and Josh Bell did the same as Brad Hand. Again, ever since I called him out, he has been pretty good. So if there's any star player that is struggling, let me know. I'll call them out and say that they're bad, and then they'll automatically become good. And then in game number 2, you have Eugenio Suarez with a leadoff home run. That was the first leadoff home run of his career. You have Jesse Winker with a missile off the bag. Unfortunately, Trey Turner, he couldn't do anything with that because it jumped right over him. You have Tyler Naquin driving in an RBI, and Sonny Gray goes 6 scoreless innings, racks up 5 strikeouts, and Lucas Sims, he gets his 3rd save of the year. I like Lucas Sims. He's very underrated. Another doubleheader I want to talk about. The Mets just narrowly beat the Rockies in game number 1. Francisco Lindor, I know that he is struggling with the bat, but he is going to be making these types of plays for the next decade. You have Jose Peraza with a clutch home run, and Marcus Stroman, he shows off the Gold Glove defense. Again, he's won, I think, a couple of them. He is so good off the mound. And then you have the shutout completed by Edwin Diaz as he comes in and saves it. And then in game number 2, the Mets sweep the doubleheader. They pick up a 4-2 victory as Peraza comes in clutch yet again with an RBI, and then later on in the game with a bases loaded walk that was followed up by Brandon Drury, a bases loaded walk of his own. The Rockies fall to 3-20 on the road. So essentially, if you are playing the Rockies and you're not at Coors Field, you're almost guaranteed a victory. Rhys Hoskins almost loses his face yesterday. This was a very scary situation, but fortunately for him, it worked out for him because I think Pablo Lopez, he focused too hard on throwing a strike.
Yeah, dude!
Garrett Cooper comes in off the bench and drives a 100-mile-per-hour fastball the other way and ties up the ball game. Odubel Herrera, I'm almost certain that he thought this ball was going to leave, so he pimps a triple. And then the Marlins, they can't turn that double play as the Phillies go up by 1 run. And Hector Neris, he has been fairly solid. I don't want to jinx him. Let me knock on some wood. He comes in and he saves the day. The Phillies win 3-2. The Tampa Bay Rays are playing like the best team in baseball right now, along with the San Diego Padres. The Rays, they go on an 11-game winning streak, they lose, and then they're back on a winning streak. So this was a massive day for Austin Meadows. He drives in 2 RBIs, and then he adds 2 more on a home run. Taylor Wells is fantastic defensively, unlike Fernando Tatis to begin 2021. We'll talk about him in just a moment. But Taylor Wells drives in an RBI, so that's just the cherry on top considering he plays elite defense. Shane McClanahan goes 5 scoreless, racks up 6 strikeouts. If you don't remember Shane, he throws 101 miles an hour as a left-handed starter. That is almost not fair. So the Rays, this 2-game winning streak gives them a 32-20 record. Again, they are playing lights out. The Cubs, let's go ahead and break down the rest of that game because we saw what happened with Javier Baez. So with this win, the Cubs are now on a 4-game winning streak and just a half game back of the Cardinals for first place. The Pirates, they're on a 6-game losing streak. Chris Bryant is playing like an MVP. He hits his 11th home run of the season. We saw the Javier Baez magic, so we're not going to go ahead and show that, but we know that he got to second base on the errant throws. Ian Happ with a broken bat single drives in Mr. Javier Baez, El Mago. Patrick Wisdom, didn't know he existed until yesterday. He hits a home run, and then Ryan Tepera, he saves it as the Pirates, they try to make a little late game comeback, but it wasn't enough because obviously the baseball gods were on the side of the Chicago Cubs. Speaking of the Cubs, let's go ahead and bring up the Cleveland baseball team because they go hand in hand ever since 2016. 16. Harold Ramirez, now he's not having the greatest season, but I will say this right now, he takes some of the meanest cuts of any right-handed hitter I've seen in quite some time. I mean, he is putting in 100% effort every time. Eddie Rosario with a 2-run home run, and Shane Bieber was electric. He had a no-hitter going into the 6th inning. He has 7 innings, 1 earned run, and 12 strikeouts. He is the fastest Cleveland pitcher ever to 600 strikeouts, which is saying something because we've had guys like CC Sabathia, Cliff Lee, Corey Kluber, Bob Feller, just a lot of studs, and the fact that Bieber is number 1, I mean, who even wants to be friends with Justin Bieber when you could be friends with Shane? So Cleveland, to a lot of people's surprise, improves to 27-21, and they now have a positive run differential for the season, so they are now outscoring their opponents, and they pitch well. Good job, Cleveland. So I love Fernando Tatis. I've been investing in his cards. You guys actually might see one coming in soon. It's a monster card, but he has to work on his defense. So he commits 2 errors on 1 play, and a lot of people, especially Dodgers fans, have been saying, yo, Fernando Tatis Jr. can't be one of the best players in baseball because he can't play defense. Even though in 2020, he was one of the better defenders in baseball, I believe that he's just in his own head, and he's got to slow down, make the correct play, and stop looking up to try and do something fancy. Fernando Tatis does come back with a RBI double, and then Eric Hosmer gives the Padres the lead. But then guess what happens? Willy Adames, they just traded for him a week ago. He hits a 3-run dong, and then Manny Machado, he ties it up. As Jackie Bradley Jr., he pulls a pitch, and Will Myers is not able to track it down, so the Brewers escape with a 6-5 victory. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the final doubleheader from yesterday because it was a very emotional game. I knew that he was going to be good, but he was special yesterday, and because it was his debut, his family was in attendance, and they were filming everything. They were crying. It was just a really special moment, and I can't remember the last time that Aaron Judge looked this uncomfortable and, to be honest with you, this stupid in the batter's box. Give him the sword because that's exactly what happened. You have Marcus Semien hitting his 13th home run of the season, and Bo Bichette makes it back-to-back. Alek Manoah goes 6 innings, does not allow a single earned run. He only allows 2 base hits in those 6 innings and has 7 strikeouts by the time that the game is all said and done. So in terms of rookie debuts in my lifetime, that's one of the best that I've ever seen. Now, game number 2 kind of felt like the same story. You have Bo Bichette pimping the heck out of this 3-run home run. He is just so cool. I hope that him and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. can stay healthy for the next 15 to 18 years. They can do something special. Aaron Judge with a 2-run home run. He ties it up, and then you have Gary Sanchez and a sacrifice fly from Aaron Judge. This gives the Yankees the lead, and they never give it back. As Green comes in to save it, and the Yankees are now just 1 game back of 2nd place and 2 games back of the 1st place Tampa Bay Rays. So between the Red Sox, the Rays, the Yankees, and the Blue Jays, that division is going to be a wild one. It's pretty much the wild, wild west, even though they're in the East. The White Sox, they beat the poor Orioles. I'm not going to talk about this all that long because I feel bad for Orioles fans. Yeah, they lose their 10th game in a row. Your mean Mercedes hits a 116-mile-per-hour home run on a 3-0 count. Dylan Cease goes 6 innings, only allows 1 run, and has 10 strikeouts. The last one was huge as there were some runners on the bases, and then you have Billy Hamilton driving an RBI, Jose Abreu. Yeah, the game was pretty much over. Your mean is now up to 7 home runs and an almost 160 OPS plus, having a fantastic rookie campaign. The Angels, ooh, this was kind of a weird one because Shohei Ohtani was supposed to be pitching for the Angels, but there was some traffic. I know for a fact that if this was high school, Shohei Ohtani and his teammates would be running poles until the sun went down because coaches in high school just think that, you know, even though you were in traffic, it's a valid excuse. It was your fault. You should have left 4 hours early. Either way, I do want to tip my cap to Patrick Sandoval. He goes 5 scoreless in an emergency start, but with some bad defense, along with Elvis Andrus going the other way. And Chris Bassett was dominant. He goes the complete game shutout, only allows 2 hits and has 9 strikeouts. And afterwards, he was just feeling very lucky and very blessed to be a part of an organization that could have given up on him, but they didn't.
I'm just trying to hold back tears right now. That's honest. There's so many people in this organization. I mean, they have stuck by my side through so much crap. And I'm just so grateful, honestly.
It's wonderful.
Sorry, I need a drink. I'm sorry.
No.
You're making me drink right now.
Just like I felt bad for Orioles fans, I feel bad for Diamondbacks fans because this home run from Tyler O'Neill, they call him Tyler Bro-Neal because he is just a massive human being. And Nolan Arenado makes it 4-0. Carlos Martinez, he goes 6 no-hit innings, but it was ruined. And then the Diamondbacks stormed back to tie it up as Pavin Smith drives one to the outfield. Molina, he does drive in the game-winning RBI, which is good for Cardinals fans, but for Diamondbacks fans, that means that was your 11th consecutive loss in a row. I mean, I'm gonna bless you right now because that's terrible. And then the final 2 games from yesterday, the Giants versus the Dodgers. So far, the Giants have been owned by the Dodgers. Justin Turner hits a 2-run home run versus his former teammate. And then you have DJ Peters. I love this. He was struggling mightily to begin his rookie debut. He hits his first home run, and Donovan Solano comes in and ties it up 3-3. Max Muncy, his bat flip needs to be immortalized. One of my favorite bat flips in the history of baseball. Blake Treinen, I want to show these clips right now. He's basically throwing wiffle balls, and I would never want to face him, whether I was a right-handed hitter or a left-handed hitter. Kenley Jansen comes in for the save, and in between that game, David Price, he gets his 2,000th strikeout, so I believe he was the 89th pitcher ever to rack up 2,000 Ks, so good for him. And then last but not least, the Mariners versus the Rangers. Adolis or Adolis, you guys have to let me know. I think it's Adolis, but a lot of people have been saying Adolis, so please let me know. He robs Mitch Haniger, but the Mariners had Tom Murphy, and anytime that Murphy is facing a left-handed pitcher, I mean, you can almost just write it down that he's going to drive in at least 2 or 3 runs. Jacob Nottingham makes it back-to-back jacks, and Chris Flexen goes 7 shutout innings, has 6 strikeouts. Then you have Mayfield and Haniger driving in the final runs. There could have been more, but Adolis Garcia with this assist kind of completes his, performance in the outfield. He robs a home run, he throws someone out. He's up to 16 home runs. He has plus speed. I mean, Adolis Garcia, he's kind of like a Walmart Ronald Acuna. I mean, not to disrespect Garcia, but a Walmart Acuna is still a superstar player. All right, everyone, well, that does it for today's MLB recap. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed or learned something, leave a like and subscribe. We do this every single day. Use my code on SeatGeek if you're going to any baseball games or concerts. Save yourself 20 bucks off. And also follow me on my Twitch. It's at Fuzzy from YT. Stay safe. Thanks for watching and enjoy this day in MLB history.
Waiting. The pitch. Bonds hits one high. Hits it deep to center. Out of here. 7:15. They're asking for Bonds to come out again, and he does.